Top of the morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHOW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today is Mrs. Mary Vogt, Superintendent of Bement Schools. Good morning, Mrs. Vogt. How are you today?
Good morning, Seth. I'm great. How are you?
Doing well, doing well. I know while most school districts probably have 20, dare I say, even 30 days of school left, your kids down to the teens, Mrs. Vogt.
They sure are. Yes, the last day for our students is May 16th, and our seniors are actually done a few days prior to that because graduation is Friday, May 16th for us. And then our teachers will come back on that Monday, May 19th, and then they are out for the summer as well.
Goodness. Now remind us why you're getting out of school so early.
Sure. So we do our typical Christmas break, like most school districts do, have 2 full weeks off for the students, but then we don't do a fall break. Sometimes schools in October or November will do a fall break, and we don't do that. And then at spring break, our spring break always falls around Easter, and the Wednesday before Easter, our students are dismissed at noon. We do that afternoon teacher in school improvement planning. And then the Thursday, Friday, all students and teachers are out. And then the Monday after Easter. So, it's 5 days off of school for them, but it's not a full week off in the sense that other school districts have, a weekend, the 5 days, and then another weekend to get the 9 days off. So, we try to balance it. Something we do, most school districts don't. We do still take Pulaski Day. A lot of schools have stopped taking Pulaski Day, but what we have found is that gives everyone that break at the beginning of March. So, we just last week had our spring break, and now we come back and 3 weeks and away we go.
Away you go, no doubt. Yeah. Now, do you hear from your families? Like, do they mind this? I mean, would they rather have a traditional, spring break and then, maybe get out instead of the 16th, you get out like the 22nd, 23rd for that Memorial Day? Or what do you hear from your families about how the schedule falls?
Seth, that would be something interesting to ask. I do have a committee of teachers that we get feedback from. And then after we get the committee's input, then the staff members, this year they got 3 calendars to choose from. And 2 of them had that week off at spring break and the other one didn't. And it was an overwhelming choice to go with the one that we have because they appreciate getting out in May and then truly having June and July off. But then, Seth, think about it. Just the way the calendar falls, it seems like we keep going back earlier and earlier in August.
Right.
So I should know off the top of my head, but it's like August 12th, I think, is when our teachers come back next year. So,
that's early.
To go into June, it feels like a short summer. That would be interesting to put the same options out to families and see what their choice is. But ultimately, it's up to the school board to approve the calendar.
Well, sure. Yeah, and the only reason I asked, I mean, a lot of people, appreciate that spring break. They can get away for 3-4 days, go do something and get back to, have kids get back home and all of those things. So just was kind of curious if there was much there. But I mean, to get the early jump on summer, families probably appreciate that as well. I mean, you could schedule a pre-Memorial Day trip and you'll probably get a good rate, because kids elsewhere in the country are still in school.
Right. And when you think about spring sports, middle school and high school spring sports, it's really hard. I feel like once families have those older children who are involved in the extracurricular activities, because there is no spring break for sports. So no matter where you go to school, there are still extracurricular activities happening over the breaks.
Yep, very true. Good call. Very, very true. Very good. Well, Mrs. Vogt, so end of the year is kind of coming up on us, and let's just kind of highlight some of the things that are going on as we end the year. I know that your Kid Wind program in Bement schools is having a little success at the junior high level. What's going on there?
Yes. So last year we had our middle school STEM teacher, Hope Walker and Linda Taylor, they worked with middle school students on a wind turbine project. And we had two groups qualify to go to the national competition in Minneapolis. So this year they took the students again, and there were several more schools who participated. Last year was the first time that Heartland and Bloomington had the competition. So several more schools competed this year, but Bement Middle School still walked away with first place out of that competition. So we are sending a group of 5 young women to Phoenix, Arizona this year. And the timing of it works out really well because they will leave. They'll be at school on during that last week, and then they will take off because the competition starts on that Sunday, May 18th. So they'll be able to go and participate nationwide. And I know that they learned a lot last year about what's expected at the national level and the presentation and what they need to talk with the judges about. So I'm excited to see their success this year.
That's really cool. 8th graders getting to do that. That's awesome.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Did you say,
yes.
You might have said it and I missed it. I apologize. Is the program in the high school as well?
Well, so we have hired a middle school science teacher who is going to try to start working on pushing STEM opportunities as an elective for those high schoolers as well.
Yeah.
Because we have seen such success at the middle school level, we want to extend the opportunity to those students as they get to high school.
That's awesome. Good stuff. Well,
We're getting there.
Yeah, definitely. Well, and that's a program that really is, going to be exploding, I'm sure, in interest just because of the development of renewable energies and all of those things that continue to grow and expand. So, and again, that STEM piece as well, you talked about it, Mrs. Vogt. I mean, that is a growing area as well. How about that? Just that program in general, STEM, the science, technology, engineering, math, and I know they've even added the A recently, STEAM, to make it arts and all of that. How about just, trying to keep up with the times there in Bement schools? What have you done and what's that look like for y'all?
I was very fortunate because when I started, we had Linda Taylor. She's a retired educator from the Bement school system, and she comes in, works with the teachers and their schedules, but she comes in and does specific STEM activities with classes. So with one grade level, it might be drones, another grade level, it might be robots. I think she helped first graders. They worked with a green screen. They had done an animal research project, and then she was able to help them create a video from their research using the green screen to project the animal behind the student while the video was playing. But then we also this year, we have been able to add Stephanie Leinard. She's our business technology teacher. We had a business teacher a few years ago. It was a hard role to fill because it was part-time business, part-time tech support. And so we made it a full-time business technology. And so Stephanie now teaches kindergarten through 12th grade. And so she has our kindergarten, first, second, all our elementary kids writing code and really being able to help teach them first internet safety and how to manage technology appropriately at those young ages. And then just building on those skills as they get older. I mean, you think about technology, AI, we've talked about before, but she's able to help students learn how to use AI appropriately. So I feel like we have so many great things happening for a district our size.
No question.
Just, unfortunately, we have a limited amount of time in the students' schedules. Several of our high school upperclassmen also, they participate in the Sangamon Valley CEO program. They go to Parkland for classes. Next year, we are implementing a workplace placement. So students who want to start their day working at a job, getting experience, getting paid, will have that available next year as well. So I just feel like regardless if the student is going to go into the workforce, if they are going to study a trade, or if they're going to go to a college or university, I feel like we have opportunities for them to learn what interests them, while they're still in high school.
Right. And that just gives them a leg up at that next step in life then.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we had a couple of students recently, they signed they're going into the diesel program at Parkland, and they've signed commitments with Berkey's. So just incredible opportunities for our students.
Mrs. Mary Vogt, Superintendent of Bement Schools, our guest on the Zoom here for today. So yeah, and again, all of that stems from our conversation about your kids and heading to Arizona. Your 8th grade students heading to Arizona for that Kid Wind opportunity. So
yes,
and that's just what you want. Is just the opportunity to give the kids the opportunity, that opportunity, and just those learning environments where they can just figure out what's best for them and where that next step in life is, for sure. So very good. Well, Mrs. Vogt, anything else going on as we get the school year kind of wrapped up here? What else is on the calendar?
Gosh, we have graduation is May 16th. So that's a big event. We have next week our middle schoolers and high schoolers, along with the sports co-op with Sarah Gordo, we do co-op fine arts as well. So while each district has their own instructors for music and instrumental music and vocal music, we do combine for our Christmas and spring performances. So next week is our middle school and high school spring performance. So it's just amazing what those teachers in each district do to coordinate and collaborate to prepare the students individually. And then they come together the afternoon of the performance and practice for the first time. And then it's always amazing to hear them that night.
Yeah, definitely. I know this weekend is kind of busy for you as well. If I'm not mistaken, prom is Saturday, right? Or tomorrow, I guess.
Yes, prom is tomorrow. So we have our students and the sponsors are setting the venue up today. They'll have promenade tomorrow evening, and then prom, and then they're doing post-prom at the high school. Word on the street is they have a mechanical bull coming and a couple of other fun activities. And so, yeah, I'm excited for the students, but also very grateful and appreciative to the parents. Parents are the ones who organize post-prom, and they really have done a great job making sure that the students have some fun activities. And it's the last rodeo, which ties in the
riding bull,
mechanical bull. But
sorry.
yeah.
Do you get? I was thrown by the bull thing, and I was thinking about something I wanted to ask. Do you get good family participation in Bement schools? Like, are your families involved in all of that?
Yes, we have great family participation, and Seth, we have phenomenal community participation. Like with the Kid Win project, it's not cheap to send 5 students to Phoenix, Arizona with 2 staff members. And the community comes out in droves to support that post-prom, making sure that, there are enough door prizes for everyone, and the community support either monetarily or gift certificates. So yes, families, community members, alum, I think I said it when I first started the job back in 2022, but I really feel like Bement is the best kept secret in Piatt County.
How about that? Well said. Mrs. Vogt, I'll tell you what, one more thing to highlight before we go to break here. You mentioned the spring concerts and last day of school. I guess you did mention spring concert. I'm sorry. Anything else coming up that's worth highlighting there in Bement as we wind down the school year?
Seth, I could go on with the number of field trips and activities. And, we have a group going to, well, they were planning to go up to Bloomington to the corn crib, but that got sold out. So now they're going over to Springfield to Malibu Jacks for a fun day, a reward day. And we typically have our middle schoolers go out to Forest Preserve Park here in Bement and go fishing and have fun activities.
Wow.
Our elementary kids will have our dog walk fundraiser coming up. So yeah, you look at the calendar every day and we could highlight something for the next 15 school days.
Well, I'll tell you what, let's break here. We'll come back and talk some more with Mrs. Mary Vogt, Superintendent of Bement Schools, our guest on the Zoom. More to come with Mrs. Vogt next. WHOW.
Let's check the markets on the RFD Radio Network. I'm DeLoss Yonke. RFD Profit Watch is brought to you by the Illinois Soybean Association. ISA works to build a preference for soy from Illinois in the international marketplace, driving demand abroad that creates return for farmers at home. See how at illsoy.org/trade map. September corn down 375. December down 2 1/4, 398. September soybeans up 1, 957 1/4. November unchanged at 976. September wheat up 4 3/4, 533. KC up 5 1/4, 546. Livestock was lower. October lean hogs down 40 cents, 76.40, and big losses for cattle. October live down 342, 175.60, and September feeders down 477, 234.50. RFD Radio Network.
Spring is in the air, so it's time to choose your new Silverado. This is Scott Baum from Baum Chevrolet Buick in Clinton. We have a good selection of new Silverados with springtime savings and special finance rates. Choose from regular cabs, double cabs, or crew cabs in gas or diesel. We're also allowing extra money for your trade on all new Silverados this month. Silverado, together let's drive. See all our inventory at baumchevybuick.com right from the start.
If you've got allergies this season, we have relief. CEO Paul Skowron here from Warner Hospital and Health Services in Clinton. Come to our walk-in clinic inside our family medicine. No appointment, no problem. See our icon at DeWittDailyNews.com.
DeWittDailyNews.com is the area's leading local news source 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Get the latest local news, obituaries, police blotter, weather forecast, and more with no paywall. Head to DeWittDailyNews.com to get the local information you need to know.
Your friend in Central Illinois, WHOW.
Once again, good morning. Thanks for being with us. I'm your host today, Seth Lawrence. The WHW Morning Show streams to Facebook and YouTube, brought to you by Peterson Insurance, your Pekin Insurance agent in Clinton. My guest on the Zoom today is Mary Vogt, Superintendent of Bement Schools. And Mrs. Vogt, I was wondering if we could potentially dive into professional development for your teachers. Like, does a lot of that happen in the summer? Do you have to give them like time off during the school year to go and do those things? What does that look like for your teachers?
So it's a combination. We do have professional development days that teachers can take. Some school districts specifically list where a teacher can have 3 professional development days, and once you use those, they're done. We don't necessarily put a cap on professional development days. If a teacher can justify why they feel like they need to be gone during the school year to attend a conference, then we evaluate that on a case-by-case basis. Some teachers do professional development during the summer. And then we also, during our school improvement planning days, we provide professional development during those school improvement planning days as well. So any variety of things. We've had people from the health department come in. We've had people from Kirby Hospital come in. We've had Piatt County Sheriff has come in to do some school safety refresher training. We had a speaker this year who spoke about her experience with trauma and abuse, and just trying to keep an eye on some of those red flags that students might be experiencing.
Yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah.
And so, do your teachers, do they get to pick and is it like like college courses where they get to pick and choose where they go, or do they have like because of like a certain subject area they teach where they have to go and do things? How does that work?
And again, it's a combination. We do have several teachers who choose to take college courses. Again, so along with providing great opportunities for our students, I feel like we provide great opportunities for our staff as well. As a district, if a teacher chooses to take college courses, we reimburse $200 per credit hour for the teacher to take those college courses. And then after they have 8 accumulated hours, they also move over on the salary schedule as well. So, not only do we contribute to how much it costs them to take those courses, but then they do get a pay raise, that acknowledgement of, they are furthering their knowledge. So they're more valuable to us. But if it is a college course, then the process is there's a form that they turn in, and they need to provide a description of what the course is. And then I approve it for them to get reimbursed. If it's a one-day, one-off workshop that's perhaps provided in a local community, or sometimes they're online, then yes, we do want it to be relevant for what the teacher is teaching.
Gotcha. Sure. So a little bit of everything with those
Yeah.
professional development opportunities,
Right.
it sounds like.
Right. And, with professional licensure, your teachers are required to have a certain number of professional development hours that they accumulate during their cycle of their license being active. And then for administrators, we're also required every 5 years, we need to have 100 professional development hours, and then take what's called an administrators academy once a year. So, there are certain requirements, and we want to make sure that we're helping our staff meet those requirements.
Yeah. Well, and from your perspective, I venture a guess professional development probably looks a little different than when you were in the classroom, right?
Absolutely. Yes. I mean, when I was in the classroom, there was no such thing as being able to do an online training.
Uh-huh.
That just didn't exist.
Well, and when you're in the classroom, you probably don't have to learn, like how to do budgets and all, how to,
Well, no.
some of the intricacies of, quorums and board meetings and all of that.
Right. Absolutely. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Now, what is your professional development schedule look like? I mean, are you doing this through the year? Is some of your stuff in the summer? Because I mean, Supts don't necessarily get that summer break like their teachers do. I mean, you can take some time and slow things down a little bit, but still, you got to be in the office at points.
Absolutely. And I am very thankful, because being part of the Macon Pyatt Regional Office of Education, and then I'm also part of the Abe Lincoln Illinois Association of School Administrators. And so different organizations that I'm part of, they do a great job of providing professional development and those administrator academy opportunities. So I think I've mentioned before, there are a number of organizations that require me to be out of the office for regularly scheduled meetings. And so those organizations will intentionally try to plan some of the professional development to take place during our meeting time.
Very good.
So,
well, Mrs. Vogt, I don't mean to do this to you. I got to cut you off there. We got to let you go for
Okay.
the day. Mary Vogt, Superintendent of Bement Schools, our guest. Network News is now.
WHOW.